Hello Bobcats, I'm Mr. Morton and I'm your principal. And I want to welcome you to Baldwin Creek Elementary. And I know that this is not a normal situation, and I wish that we could all come in like a normal fall and we'd have a normal open house. Your parents could come in with you and explore Baldwin Creek. For our fifth graders, you kind of know the layout, but for our fourth graders, that's where I really wish you guys could have experienced a transition in the spring, get to know our building, and have a great open house in the fall. But that's not the case, and we're going to adjust together, and we're going to have a fantastic year for those students that are virtual and those students that are in seat. We have great plans installed for all of you, and again, we're going to make this work together. At Baldwin Creek, it's every Bobcat every day, and we truly believe that. And as I walk you through the building, I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and hopefully you get to know me a little bit through this video and you get to see our wonderful building. So let's go on in and let's check out Baldwin Creek. Come on in. So here we are in the front office here, or to get into the front office, and all of our visitors will come in through these doors and they'll check in with Miss Friday, and we're going to meet her in a minute. I'm going to take my mask off for a second, and there's going to be a lot of times that you get to take your mask off in the building as well. So I know that that's kind of a question mark as to when we're going to be able to take those off and get breaks. I want to assure you that our staff has worked on micro breaks, which you'd be in the classroom and you'd have the opportunity for a break. And then we talk about our bigger breaks, where we're going to get you outside throughout the day. Again, it's not going to be a normal schedule, but we're adjusting to that so that we can meet your needs and the teacher's needs, because we know at times that the face coverings can be kind of hard, but we're going to make it work so that we have you in seat. So let's go on in and check out the building. Come on in the front office and let's meet Mrs. Friday. Say hi, Mrs. Friday. Oh. Mrs. Friday and I have our masks on because right now we're not 6 feet apart, we're not in a Bobcat bubble, or we're not 2 Bobcats away. So that's kind of a lot of language that you're going to hear this year, and don't worry, because in the first 3 days of school we're going to practice, 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 so that you feel comfortable with a face covering on when we can't be 6 feet apart or in our Bobcat bubble. So let's go on into my office and check it out. This is my office here. Not so scary, is it? I visit with a lot of students and parents in my office when somebody's not in trouble. So just because you might visit me down in the office does not mean that you're in trouble, okay? I like to visit with our students, I like to connect, I like to have conversations, and I like to get to know my students. So again, I want this to be a comfortable place for you. And if we happen to have one of those conversations that we might not have made the best choice, it's okay too. That's what I'm here for, is to help you in any type of situation. So this is it. Let's move on into the building. Come on in to the Bobcat gym and cafeteria. So this is where we come to lunch, and this is where we go to PE, and in a normal situation this would be where we have our assemblies. Now that I'm 6 feet apart from anybody, I'm going to take my mask off to get that break. This is kind of the way we're going to operate throughout the day. When we have those opportunities, when we have that physical distance, we're going to take those masks off so that we can have a breath. And I feel that's very important, as I think you do, and maybe your parents or guardians have that same concern. But again, we're going to take those off when we can. All right. So I want to tell you that our custodians have been working extra hard this year. Brand new paint, brand new tables with decals, with our Bobcat decals on there. And this is kind of a special place for us here at Baldwin Creek Elementary, because we have so many social gatherings. And again, it's sad to me that we aren't going to spend as much time in here as large groups as we normally do, but you will be in here and get to experience, which we call kind of our social hub of Baldwin Creek. All right, this is where you'll see Mrs. Atnip, your PE teacher. Let's move on down to the music room. All right, our music room's a little bit of a mess, but we're setting up for some teacher meetings in here. And this is where Mr. Wilson teaches. And Mr. Wilson, you've probably had him over at Gannett Peak, if you were at Gannett Peak one time or another. So hopefully you know him and already have a relationship with him. Again, this is where a lot of action happens. And we're hoping that we get kids spaced out in here as well. And we're gonna, I know Mr. Wilson's gonna get you outside as much as he can and enjoy that warm weather while we have it and give you the freedom to be out there with physical distancing, but with these off out there. All right, let's head to the art room. All right, this is the art room here at Baldwin Creek Elementary, and Mrs. Widhelm teaches it. And again, you've probably had Mrs. Widhelm if you were at Gannett Peak at one time or another. Unfortunately, just because of supplies and the table and transitions, we're not going to be able to be in here this year, and Mrs. Widhelm is going to come to you. And we've ordered carts and supplies for each and every Bobcat to have their own art supplies during this time. So, although you don't get to be in here, you do get to experience Mrs. Widhelm, but it'll be in your classroom. All right, let's head down to the library. Okay, here we are in the Baldwin Creek Library. The thing I love about this library is the lighting in here and all the plants Mrs. Jordan has in here. And Mrs. Jordan is our librarian, and she does a fantastic job helping students find those books that they just really enjoy and getting into a series or a genre of books that you might not think that you're into until you come to Baldwin Creek. Let's kind of take a little tour around here. So not only do we have books here for you, but Mrs. Jordan also teaches in here as well. And this is where Mrs. Jordan does her instruction, right where the tables are, and she's working on spacing those seats out so that our students remain at a proper physical distance. And so you'll be separated more than you normally would be during library class. But again, we're making adjustments for this year, and hopefully we get back on track next year. All right, let's head down to computers. All right, Bobcats, this is the Bobcat Lab. And this is where Mr. Huff will be teaching computers. And so we're working on ways that will keep our Bobcats safe in here and physical distance as well, either with face coverings or plexiglass shields. But Mr. Huff is working with Mrs. Jordan to make sure that we have that clean process for all students coming in, sanitizing for them, then when students leave, sanitizing for them as well. One thing we're going to get used to here at Baldwin Creek is a lot of hand washing and sanitizer, and you'll be learning that process again in the first 3 days of school. So don't worry, we're going to work through it together. I've had some Bobcats ask me out in town, well, what if I make a mistake? You know, what if I bump into somebody or my mask falls down or whatnot? Again, we're going to deal with that. Nobody's going to be in trouble, especially if it's not intentional. And we're going to learn again, how do we deal with that through washing hands, faces, and using sanitizer. So again, we're all going to be learning together. We don't have it all figured out. We're not experts. There's no script for this. There's no manual. There are guidelines that we are working through, and I feel that our teachers have done such an amazing job as far as interpreting those guidelines and setting a plan moving forward for Baldwin Creek. All right, let's go to the tech lab where Mrs. Jordan teaches. All right, Bobcats, this is the tech lab, and this is where Mrs. Jordan teaches. I want you to check this out. All of our classrooms got upgraded with touchscreen TVs. So the smart boards that sometimes could be hard to see or they didn't work all the time, we've got some new technology for you, and these not only in the tech lab, but it's going to be in all the classrooms as well. So that's a fun thing about coming to Baldwin Creek this year, is we got some updated technology. We got Chromebooks on the way for every student this year, and I think it's going to be a great year technology-wise here in the building. Mrs. Jordan does a fantastic job with some really cool projects in here where you get to do some editing and some work on some slides, as far as just learning how to manipulate computer and programs at a higher level here in 4th and 5th grade. So I think you'll enjoy it. These two labs, we also do our testing for our star and white top, and I love these two rooms because they're warm and they're welcoming, and our students really feel at ease when they come in here for those assessments. I know when you take star and white top, sometimes you're like, but when we come in here, we are ready to rock for those assessments, and a lot of that is because Mrs. Jordan and Mr. Huff will get you prepared for that, coming into a real welcoming environment. All right, let's head to character traits. All right, Bobcats, this is the character traits room. Again, you see a nice big touch screen TV, and Mrs. Curl is our character traits teacher. And unfortunately, this is also one of those rooms that Mrs. Curl is going to come to you this year. And what we do in character traits is we learn how to be good citizens, good Bobcats, and we learn to navigate peer conflict. Those situations that you might have with your friends, or if you're being bullied or harassed, how do we navigate through those systems? Well, you get this class 1 hour a week, the entire school year, and I feel it's one of the things that makes Baldwin Creek special is because we teach our Bobcats how to be good citizens. And that's super important for me, because when I say every Bobcat every day, that means the teachers are teaching or treating our students the way our students would want to be treated, and the way we want our students to treat each other and our staff. So just so you know, our staff goes through a lot of training as well on how to be good citizens and really live that every Bobcat every day. It's something that we really believe in. So again, I don't just expect my students to follow that code, but I expect my teachers to follow that code as well. And we do that here at Baldwin Creek, and it's a very special place because for me, kids and relationships, positive relationships, are number one. All right, Bobcats, that's it for our specials. Let's go out and check the playground out. All right, Bobcats, this is a part of the playground here in Bobcat Land, and just like at Gannett Peak, we have line-up lines, and in a normal year, each class would be assigned to a line, and we would, when the bell rings, we would line up in those lines and head on into the building. So this year it's going to be a little more challenging out on the playground, and the way we're going to keep our Bobcats safe, in the first 2 days that you come to school, we're going to have students enter the campus with their face coverings on. We're going to have sanitizer out there for you to just put on a little bit just to make sure those germs are away. Our staff is going to help you get to your teacher and your lineup zone. So don't worry about that. We'll have all hands on deck that day with our staff with orange vests, making sure that you get to where you need to be. So really, all you have to do is talk to a staff member, let them know who you are and who your teacher is. We'll direct you to the spot where you're going to be. We're going to keep those groups separated at a nice physical distance, and they're going to have an activity for you there until the bell rings. We're going to do that in the first 2 to 3 days just to make sure that we have a system down so that it's not chaotic out here, right? Still might be a little bit, but again, we're going to do the best we can. And then we have our students will be grouped into basically cohorts or bubbles, and those will be the same group of kids that you play with all day. So the area that I'm in the morning will be the same area that I'm in for lunch recess and for afternoon recess, and we're going to rotate those zones around weekly so that you get to experience all areas of the playground. Let's go check it out a little bit. Gannett Peak's playground and this playground are a lot different. It's one gigantic playground, and it is huge. All this space all the way out to the fence, and even behind this building. So there are plenty of areas and space for us to distance our bobcats during our recesses, but we still get you out here and we get those masks off so that you get that nice Wyoming fresh air. And it's such a nice break for you from being in the building all day. All right? So bobcats, that's kind of Baldwin Creek. You'll get to see your own classroom this week. Your teacher is going to be sending out a video tomorrow night, and then Thursday night you'll have your Google Hangouts with them. All that information is in the parent newsletter that has been sent out. If you have any questions, concerns, give me a call here at Baldwin Creek. I can't wait to have you guys here next week. I am so anxious to see all of my 5th graders again and get to meet all of our new 4th grade students. All right, Bobcats, families, have a great evening and go Bobcats.